Esteemed hosts, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm grateful for the opportunity to address you in this video statement for this side event at the 68th session of the Commission on the Status of Women to share insights focused on the nexus of gender-responsive policies and equitable agri-food systems in Africa. I sincerely regret that I'm not able to attend this event in person, as duty travels don't allow me to be in New York with you. My heartfelt appreciation goes to the African women in agricultural research and development and the permanent missions of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, the Republic of Malawi, and the Republic of Uganda to the United Nations for organizing this significant gathering and for extending the invitation to the UN Committee on World Food Security, also known as CFS, that I have the privilege to be the chairperson. As you might know, the Committee on World Food Security serves as the global food governance body of the United Nations, where 141 member states of the UN are joined by civil society, the private sector, research and academia, UN agencies and programs, international financial institutions, foundations and others, to deliberate upon the drive to address systemic and structural causes of hunger and malnutrition in support of the efforts led by countries. We consider the imperative to recognize the transformative potential of gender-responsive policies in driving sustainable development and women and girls' empowerment across Africa's agri-food systems. These gender-responsive policies are not merely tools for change, but catalysts for inclusive growth and resilience in the face of unprecedented and profound challenges confronting agri-food systems, exacerbated by pandemics, global food crisis, ongoing conflicts, and escalating impacts of climate change. In this direction, with this imperative in mind, I'm delighted to share that after 3 years of an inclusive and transparent consensus-based policy convergence process, including the 5 intense rounds of negotiations, the CFS plenary has successfully endorsed its voluntary guidelines on gender equality and women and girls' empowerment, marking a significant milestone in our collective journey towards gender equality in agriculture and food systems. The guidelines are the first intergovernmental and multi-stakeholder negotiated global policy agreement in which CFS members commit to tackle gender inequalities and women's and girls' empowerment, and to foster greater policy coherence amongst gender equality and food security and nutrition agendas, and mutually reinforcing policy measures. These guidelines provide a comprehensive framework for action, offering practical guidance to governments, stakeholders, and practitioners on integrating gender considerations into policy formulation, implementation, and monitoring. Today's event provides a valuable opportunity to explore the utility of the voluntary guidelines in fostering gender-responsive policies and equitable agri-food systems in Africa and globally. These guidelines encompass a broad spectrum of policy recommendations, ranging from promoting women's food security and nutrition to ensuring their full participation and leadership in agri-food systems. They offer practical guidance for fostering gender equality, enhancing women's economic and social empowerment, and eliminating gender-based violence and other barriers to their inclusion and agency. By addressing these thematic areas, we can overcome challenges, scale up successful models and drive concrete actions towards gender responsiveness in African agri-food policies. However, the true impact of the voluntary guidelines lies in their implementation and utilization. It is essential for all stakeholders to engage in a dialogue, share best practices, and collaborate on innovative solutions to translate these guidelines into tangible actions on the ground. I then invite all participants to leverage the voluntary guidelines as a roadmap for addressing the guiding principles and questions posed today. We can use these guidelines to accelerate development, spotlight successful examples of gender-responsive agri-food policies, and address key priority areas for fostering gender equitable and inclusive food systems transformation. In conclusion, I commend the dedication and commitment of all stakeholders present today to advancing gender equality and women's empowerment, and I affirm the commitment of the UN Committee on World Food Security to supporting efforts aimed at harnessing transformative power of gender-responsive policies in agri-food systems. As we continue our journey, let us harness the utility of the voluntary guidelines and translate them into tangible results that benefit women, men, and communities across Africa and beyond. Let us work together to shape a future where gender equality becomes a concrete reality. Thank you.